I gotta check on a colony that, weeks ago didn't have a laying queen, and the queen that was in there flew off the lid. Went back, found a laying queen, wasn't the same caramel colored queen. Found another queen. During editing, saw a caramel colored queen on the lid. Looks like they had two queens, and they had no food, so we had to feed them. I'm gonna go take a look at that. Y'all come on along. Well, folks, this is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to Southeast Louisiana. Hey, look, before we get started, if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you don't mind, of course. And remember, I don't do how-to videos. I just do how I do videos. Just a vlog. So that's right, you heard it right. I think we had two queens in this colony. This isn't something that's unheard of. It's been talked about many times. I've never seen it, but on editing, I have no doubt that that second queen I saw was a queen. And she was caramel colored like the one that flew away. The one that we found in there that was walking around, possibly the laying queen. I don't know, she didn't look the same. She looked more like the other bees, closer to their color. Oh, I see the queen down in the next frame. I believe that's her. Yeah, I see her. So, I know I saw her. Oh, there she is. Okay, I knew I saw a queen. There she is. So, they need food bad. They need nutrition. She was a queen, no doubt. So, definitely saw two queens for the first time. That I'm pretty sure anyway, so we'll go with it. But I need to go take a look at them. Another thing with this colony was it was a very poor looking colony when we inspected singles. Okay, and let me jump on something real quick. I had a commenter tell me, guys, this was funny. You learn a lot of patience when you become a YouTube creator with comments. Depending on what your channel is geared to and what you like to show and what your goal is in your channel. You show certain things, you show certain events and happenings and whatever case. In my case, it's just a vlog showing a day-to-day beekeeping stuff. And the commenter told me, he said, hey, this is the second or every video I watch of you, there's something wrong with your colonies. I should read it verbatim because I don't want to, because he has watched my videos and I'm not bashing on it. I just thought it was a prime example of why I have learned a lot of patience in beekeeping, because in YouTubing, I should say, because they said every time you open them up, I'm seeing these problems. Maybe you should watch Mr. Ed and Dirt Rooster and do it the way they do it. Just saying. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't need to watch them too. First of all, I know Mr. Ed very well. Obviously, you don't watch the videos because I'm with him a lot, and we beekeep together, and he does keep bees way different than me. But I haven't. In that video, I showed the guy, all y'all. I showed all you guys 3 colonies. One that had queen cells, and 2 that were. One was doing outstanding, and another one was doing pretty doggone good. And hey, all my colonies are doing well. They're doing well. They're flying. We hit our 3rd round of treatments. And matter of fact, take a look at this video when I was out at the colonies in town. They were rolling in with the goldenrod coming. In town, doing a quick OA treatment on these bees. I'm gonna tell you, as you get through these treatments, these bees really begin to thrive. Look at them flying. Yeah, this is around 11:30 a.m., 11 a.m. in the morning. And these bees are absolutely going after the goldenrod. Wow. Looking good. So yeah, I don't need to go watch those guys. I know how Mr. Ed keeps bees. I know what his losses are. I know what his honey crop is. I know how many he keeps, you know. I know all that good stuff because I stay in touch with him regularly. And his channel's geared towards removals and honey extraction and some of his ways that he splits and propagates. Mine is day to day. Dirt Rooster, I know him via just meeting here and there and talking, and he's called me and given me tips on my YouTube channel and different things to do, and he's called me and talked to me about you know, how to get foundations ready and different things, tips that I could use, and I appreciate his help. But I've never kept bees with him, so I don't know how he does, but I don't need to go watch Mr. Ed. I think I'm doing okay. You know, what I do is I come in here and again, if the fella, I think, had watched all my video or most of all my videos and all, especially this year I go in and I'm just going into problem colonies right now, especially since the storm. I haven't had a chance to do full assessments. Normally I do one assessment coming out of the honey harvest, and that's it. I leave them alone, and I've left my colonies alone. I do leave them alone. I don't go in them regularly, but when I see something suspect, I go in them. And this year, being a vlog, I've just taken you guys along. So a lot of the colonies you see are going to be problem colonies, but I'm sitting at, I don't know, between 35 and 40 colonies right now. I had over 40, and we've done a couple combines. We had 5 that went downhill and ended up being dead outs, and you know, for the rest, they're pretty much doing okay, but there are a couple problems. So that's what we go to today. We go and take a look at that one that hopefully is growing, hopefully is coming back and bouncing back. It looked really bad, but then it looked good once they had a laying queen, and we saw a second one, I thought, and I haven't been in since. I did put 2 gallons of feed on because the nest was slid to the side. I moved it over a little bit, but it was a lot of empty comb. The beetles didn't look bad, so I left it alone. But since that time, which was about 2.5 weeks ago, they have I have given them 2 gallons of feed, some 1.5 to 1, something like that. It's not a pure 1 to 1, but it's a little heavier. But anyway, I've given them that. So let's go see if they've bounced back. That's what we're doing today. All right, guys, we've got a hive top on here. Again, I fed them 2 gallons, and I'll talk more about my feeding methods, habits, whatever you want to call them, my reasonings. But they sucked down 2 gallons in about 10 days. I gave it to them, so they sucked them down pretty quick each time. Let's see. Well, I moved them over. They were against here, so let's take a look and see where we're at now. Come on, we'll come in on this side a little bit. Still wide open, empty comb, and they're definitely going to need feed. The goldenrod flow started. I gave them this feed right before the flow started, about a week and a half or so before it started, knowing they needed something. Let's see if they're storing. Not yet. They look more populous. And all the bees look so good right now, guys. They're, as you walk by the colonies, we're just really working hard with this nectar flow going. A lot of pollen coming in. Maybe we'll go check a pollen trap too. Maybe you can check on that colony that had cells in it. Look, I see, here's some stores. There's pollen and there's nectar going in. And there's a little bit of capped honey. But nothing spectacular. And I see a little bit of nectar on this side, but not much. But again, a small colony is not going to need 60 pounds of honey or 40 pounds of honey or whatever the books want to call for. But they need honey. And they're a little heavier than they were. But really need to make sure they're good. So we got cat brood. I'm looking for 2 different queens. Should put my fan on. My glasses are fogging. Oh yeah, pretty white. I don't have my flashlight with me. Pretty white larvae. And I don't know. You're not gonna be able to see that, I don't think, but I'll show you anyway. There's larvae in there. The bees are a lot less stressed than they were. Everything looks healthy. There's pollen mixed in real heavy. So they're already extended out of frame. So feeding them definitely got her moving. And feeding does that. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about why I don't feed as much. I don't see me feeding a lot, but her pattern is definitely getting better, because if you look at this frame, and I'm kind of looking for her too, you'll notice that where there's no capped brood, there's either larvae, pollen, or nectar. So that's meaning she's feeling everything she can. So this can be deceiving, looking at this thinking there's a bad pattern. There's not. There's pollen in most all those holes. So she's doing good. This has come a long way. This hive, actually, this colony, I thought was actually sick because they looked so bad when we inspected them when we were doing the singles. But look, they're looking good. I'm pleased. And they're one, two, 3, 4, 5 frames where they were only 3 last time. So there you go, feeding. When they have nothing coming in and they have nothing in there. I'm not seeing any beetles. Well, I'm starting to sweat. It's hot in the sun, but it's only like 81. It's beautiful out in the shade. It's gorgeous, guys. It was 62 this morning. Whoo, I'm excited. It means taking a break from beekeeping for a little bit. I love it, but hey, we got to have a break. But our break is only about 2 months. Oh, there's a queen right there. I see her as I pulled it up there. Now she's more caramel colored. There she is. Oh yeah, she's pretty now. That's the caramel colored one, which is the cell that I put in here. That's who I put in here. She's doing fine. Again, these cells that aren't capped have something else in them, so she's feeling where she can. Double check this side. She shouldn't. I wouldn't imagine a second queen would be too long in here. I don't have a cage to put her in, so I don't want to inspect too much deeper. I really don't want to damage her. She's doing good. I'm gonna pull a second frame out, guys, while I'm keeping my eye on her. And take a look. Oh yeah, she's doing just fine. Look, see? It's hard to hold with 2 fingers like that, but she's doing fine. They've got some stores they're putting in. There she is. Oh yeah, all laid up. All laid up with larvae. In fact, I see her. I'm gonna put her right here. I'm gonna put it right there. I'm gonna look at this frame. This frame is laid up with larvae, guys. Oh, larvae, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, man, you talk about throwing some feed to them and kick-starting her. We needed this population going into winter for sure. All right, let me carefully get her out. She's right there on the edge still. We still got her. I like to see it next. The brood, and we're going. She's laying up good. I am going to slide their nest one more frame over. Yeah, they could still use. We got a flow going, so I'm not going to feed them right now. But these are going to get some 2-to-1 going into winter. I see no other queen. I've looked at every frame, and I've not seen another queen. There's one little beetle. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find her, make sure she's good on here still. There she is right there. Slide her in right here. And slide this up right here. And we know she's good. I'm going to put that in there. This empty frame is going to go here. Now we've slid them 2 frames over. In 2 inspections, we slid them 2 frames over and got them toward the center. We'll go ahead and put their feeder back on. I'll be bucket feeding most of them in the fall, you know, when the winter comes. But there you go, folks. They look good. We'll feed them up. They're going to need feed. They don't have a lot of honey, but there is nectar coming. They're not a big workforce. So while a small colony doesn't need as much honey to go through the winter, keep in mind in the flow, this fall flow, they don't have the workforce to go out and get a lot. So they're still going to need some feed. So that's what I need to look at is getting them some 2-to-1 on here, but I'm going to do that with all of them. I weigh them all, and whoever's light gets a bucket, and that's how I feed. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. All right, real quickly here in the shade, I'm going to, debris, man, the debris guys have been phenomenal. Guys, they are clearing roads and cutting trees. It's been great. Still no internet, so I'm still having to go into town and hijack where I can. I got sources I can go to now, so it's just can't do it at home when I'm ready. Anyway, so let me talk about feeding my colonies. You don't see me feed a lot. Now, I'm not an anti-feed guy at all. I've told y'all this before. I'm gonna tell the story again. Not the story, what I believe in it, and for my bees. I'm not anti-feed at all, because there are some anti-feed out there. There's people that don't feed, but then there's people that are anti-feed. I'm not that. I'm not a don't feed. What I am is I feed as necessary. We have a phenomenal nectar flow. John at Baddest Bees, he just can't get over it. John at Baddest Bees, y'all know who he is. He's envious of our nectar flow, but man, it can be a cursing too sometimes. But it is a long nectar flow and a lot of nectar flow, and our dearths are very, very short. So that's a prime example. You give them some good feeding, they'll blow up for you. That was a very sickly looking hive, and they grew. They didn't blow up, but they grew. They grew well, and I know that. I use feeding simply to grow hives up in, or colonies up into upper chambers if I need to. Maybe it's a swarm that has nothing and there's a dearth, whatever. And I feed prior to winter. I feed 2-to-1. I don't want to put on granular emergency feed. I don't want to do that. I do it when I have to. I don't want to. It's not the right thing for them. So I feed them up prior to. I want heavy colonies going in. I do double deeps. I was talking to Brad at the bee man at Faith Apiaries up in Canada, and I'm intrigued with Brad because a person that gets into commercial beekeeping late in life, it intrigues me and it interests me, and I really envy it. I wish I could. I really look at his operation and go, wow, man, he's doing it. But anyway, we've been talking a little bit, and he asked me about how long between flight time and the winter and all that, how much feed do they need. And it's funny, down here, that's only a 2 to 3 month period, and they're feeding again. There's nectar flow, because we'll start seeing nectar come in early February. We'll see brood going in January. Brood goes in all year, I really believe. There's times in Decembers and warm winters we've had it. But that brings us back to feeding. And they go out and look for feed, and when there's a dearth in the winter and they find nothing, they burn more. So we need, what the book tells us 40, we really need more than that. But I was telling him, my boxes, I don't do single brood management, so my doubles are stacked with honey in the top, and that's great. The singles, I have to feed them up and make them heavy. They do well through the winter. We don't have a long period, so we always have a moderate nectar flow, and then we have our heavies that we draw honey off of, and then we have our moderates that they build on. So everybody has to figure out their operation, what their reasoning is, and why they're doing what they're doing. Commercial guys, they're going to feed. They have to feed. They want their colonies constantly robust so that they're always building and producing and making big. Me, I'm a hobby guy that sells honey and makes a little bit of money off my operation. It pays for itself. I don't have to do all that. So what I do, I feed when I need to. I don't need huge robust colonies going into winter. I need healthy colonies going into winter, good clusters, and that's good enough. The small ones, they'll come out, they'll go into doubles and make bee production colonies. The ones that make it through more robust than others, I'll split them. If I have 15 to 20 to split one year, great. If I have 10 to split one year, great. It's not a bust, it's not a livelihood for me. I don't depend on what we make in the year from a livelihood. So that's why I don't feed a lot. I feed only when I need to. Even now, most of the colonies have so much honey in them, no reason to even put anything on to build the brood nests, because they will. Because the brood nests are going to only be without nectar for 2 months at the most. And we saw nectar coming in through July this year. They don't need feed, because then here October they're blowing and going on the goldenrod, so they'll build up for winter. That's my take on feeding. Not an anti-feed guy. I just feed when I want. Everybody has to figure out what their operation requires, what they want out of their bees, what they want out of their time and their effort. That's what I believe. I don't get into it with feeding with people. I just tell them how I do it, why I do it. They ask me how come a commercial guy does it. I tell them why, and they got good reasons. Everybody has a reason. And I tell you, a great feeding is a tool for me. And I tell you, a great video series on that is this parts 1 through 4 of Bob Benny. Awesome series on his channel on using feeding as a tool and why he does it and how he does it. Back to the bees. So as I walk through, I just love to look at the colonies. And these will all be moved. They're on pallets. This isn't permanent. They're getting moved for the winter, but I just love to watch them. They're just going and just doing what bees do. Not super huge. And you see a fella asking me, oh, maybe you shouldn't go in them. I don't go in these. Why should I? But I do go in the ones that look weak, like this one. I had to go in this one. It looked weak, but guess what? Even they're doing good. It's not every single colony I go in that's bad. Look at them bringing in pollen. Just a little old colony. I just show you guys the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm not even going to go in these colonies when they look good. So when you see me going in colonies, usually there's a problem, and we're checking it out. And look, we had one bounce back. So there you go. They've had their 3rd round oxalic acid, and they really are lively in this flow. Our fall flow does not bring a honey crop. It's strictly for them, and they are loving it right now. It's all it is. You smell the nectar. You can smell the goldenrod. Hey, here's another one. It's just going and going and going. As I walk over, look at them go. This colony's got a great looking brood nest inside. When I switched them bottom boards on that video, y'all saw that. Man, this is a little nuke that bounced back after a rough summer. They really bounced back, but they're ornery, man. They're ornery, but look at them. Bringing in pollen. Yeah, there's some. There's some more. It's only been a couple days on this one. Usually use them 3 days. This has only been 2, but this is a nice take. This is the Man Lake one. It's actually been working really good. But I got a better population. I put that other one on. That population is not that good on that colony. It yields next to nothing, so it's just not meant to be. But I have a customer I know wants this, so I'll be drying some for her. Let's see what's in here. Usually not a lot, but carpenter ants. There's a roach. Oh my gosh. Get out of there. Carpenter ants. I hate those things. Yeah, this one hasn't been doing good. If you compare this to what the others brought in, you can tell the population is just not good. Ooh, had to retreat to the shade, folks. I tell you, it's warm in the sun. Not humid, but just warm, like bearing down on you warm. But man, in the shade, it is absolutely gorgeous. We're dealing with upper 70s, low 80s right now, and it's only been getting to like 85 each day. And while that seems hot to some, it's not when you compare it to 95 and humid. So, ooh, I'm excited about this fall. It's nice to calm down. Look at the bees. I mean, are absolutely just blowing and going. Just love it. Have I told you how much I can just sit and watch this? Have I? I just love it. I told you there was a couple that weren't doing great. That one on the far left. It's doing good. It's just not as big. But it's doing really good. And then that double stack over there, it's doing so much better. I'm so happy with it. But yeah, look at them. Just could sit and watch it all the time. It's so much easier to say that when it's fall and you know your majority of work is done. You can actually take a break. And that's what I do. We'll get them fed, we'll get them, picked up, weighed, fed, feed them up who needs feeding, and we'll go on into the fall, and it'll be, and then into the winter with, a month or so break, and then I'll start building up and replacing equipment and setting plans in motion for what changes I'm making next year. Gear up for probably grafting this year coming up, the next season. So anyway, but hey, it's good to see that colony doing good over there. Feed made a huge difference on them, feeding, and the queen looks like it ironed itself out. I got the caramel colored one now. Maybe the other one was the old one. Because remember, the caramel one was the one that flew. And usually they fly when they're young or virgins or who knows. But she's there. She looks nice and healthy. She's laying like a champion. They're geared up for winter. We'll put some 2-to-1 on them here when the flow stops, along with whoever needs it, and we'll be good to go. Guys, I appreciate everybody watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to share this video with friends, family, anybody just enjoys watching bees. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful evening. The Lord God bless you and keep you. See y'all later.